Oh, we're live right now?
Now!
We're live on Affable
Tiempo.
Idiots' production of Respawning Fire, episode 192, the kick-ass irreverent gaming podcast from, I already said it before, but Affable Idiots. I am Holden Christopher Adams DePardo. I'm here with...
Christmas in July, Joey Noel. No, that's a different person. Hi, I'm Chad Michael Innes.
It's a different person. It's also a holiday, and you just combined a bunch of stuff. Yes, that is Chad Michael Jonas. That's actually his real last name. If he says it's Innes, don't believe that. It's actually Jonas.
I knew a kid in 7th grade, Miss Brackney's class in algebra. Algebra 2, actually. His name was Yanni Kokoris. Yanni Kokoris' catchphrase was Dookie Balls. Dookie Balls. He was a cool kid. And now I use his name, Jesse and I use his name to describe us being tired. And we're like, oh man, I'm Yanni Kokoris right now.
Well, we're not going to be Yanni Kokoris because we've got a super awesome episode ahead.
Filled
we're
with
talking
caffeine.
About all the fun stuff.
Mountain Dew Zero, MDZ.
Filled with caffeine. And once again, I am Holden Christopher Adams DePardo. I'm here with Chad Michael Jonas, and we have got the dreamiest fan base of all time joining us from all over the world because we're on twitch.tv/affableidiots, which we do every Sunday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We're actually early, 8:20 p.m. Eastern Time
right?
right
We got
now.
our shit together, and I even peed beforehand.
Yeah. I know. This is incredible. What's even more incredible is that we're also available on YouTube and podcast services Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. We're going to be talking about the really important stories, like the KFConsole with a chicken warmer built into it. Other such important stories as Sony's plethora of TVs and shows and movies that are coming out. Just so much more. But before all that, Chad, it's the end of the year. And that means that we're going to go over what we thought was going to happen this year. And then we're going to talk about how incredibly right we were when we bring up the biggest stories of 2022.
Before God.
2020. Did I say 2022? I did just say 2022.
2020, probably as well. 2020 as well.
2020 as well. Yes, that's exactly what I meant. So, Chad, let's jump into it. Do we want to go back and forth, like one of your predictions and one of my predictions that we made, or just go through
I think
each
we should
list?
Just go through each person, shit on them, and go to the next person, shit on them.
There was a lot of really inaccurate predictions on both of our parts.
If you are new to us this year, every single January we make predictions about what we think is going to happen in the year in gaming. And then at the end of the year, we find out who had the most correct predictions, and that person gets to choose the first 2 months of barf games. So tonight's stakes are who will get to choose which games go up for barf election. Yo, what up, Pork Chop in the chat? 118, YT, Young Thing, Pretty Young Thing, PYT, Michael Jackson, Shimona, Holden. Let's shit on me.
Hi, Brent. So I'm going to just start by putting a 0 out of 5 next to both of our names so we keep a tally.
We do partial points. Sorry, I meant to say
we do
not
partial points.
Okay,
yeah. And we will debate those, how partial that point is going to be. I was listening back to last year's prediction episode, and I took a 0.5 or 0.05 out of 1 full point because of the North American sales for Switch is the only sales that were made available, but not the worldwide sales. So we determined that the U.S. was 5% of the world population, therefore I would only get 0.5. So we do partial points to the extreme.
Yeah,
we go all out. This is not what people want to hear. People want to hear that your first prediction, Chad, was that Sony will announce a Game Pass competitor with 3 kind of stipulations. 1, it will include the entire PS4 first-party backlog. You mean like the first party, like only the things that Sony actually like release. 2, it'll be branded differently than PS Now, and it will be available on PS4, PS5, and PC.
There are so many parts of each of these 3 that are true, but none of them is entirely true.
Yeah. So like the closest is that Sony had the PlayStation Plus collection, which they were very open about saying it's not a Game Pass competitor, which is like kind of the thing that like hurts the most here. Because it really is so much of what you meant, though. Because when I was going back and listening to that, you were talking about how this is going to be a way to kind of experience the PlayStation 4 games that you maybe have missed out on. And that is what it was trying to accomplish. But it's not this, like, $10 a month for just this, like...
What's weird is that It is a PlayStation Game Pass in what I intended with my predictions. It is a PlayStation Game Pass competitor in everything but name. Like when I outlined my 3 stipulations, it was like, oh yeah, it's gonna have all the Sony games in it from PS4 generation. It's gonna be its own thing from PlayStation Now. It's gonna be available only on PlayStation systems, but also PC. Like that's what I meant by it. But then they came out and said they're like, no, this is not Game Pass competitor. I'm like, well, fuck you, it is. Yeah. You just don't want to associate yourself with it.
Yeah, so I feel like there's enough that's true here for a half of a point.
Oh, that's generous. Thank you. I was gonna go with like a half of each one of these, which would have been like, it doesn't matter. It does. I got a half a point, so thank you.
Yeah, you can make an argument for like a third because the whole PS4, PS5, PC thing. But I mean, you got the crux to like what was there. Sony was so adamant that they're like, no, this is not. Yeah. We saw Chad's prediction and we are saying nay. So we're gonna go 0.5 out of 5. Next one, Nintendo Switch Pro, not that exact name, will be launching alongside a Super Mario Odyssey sequel, and that will be a bundle along with it, where you get the console and the game separately, but then also like a bundle with both of them together.
Yep. Spoilers. That's going to be returning as a prediction of mine next year.
I did think next year is definitely a possibility with that one for sure.
Yeah, I failed that one. 0% of that came true.
Number 3, Xbox's new consoles will outsell PS5 in the holiday season.
The holiday season.
I tried to look into this one and like try to fact check this one because technically we don't know.
Right.
We've heard a lot about how the PS5 was the best-selling like holiday console, whatever, but we don't know what the combined sales of the Series X and Series S were.
Right.
I'm assuming PS5 was still outsold the Xbox.
There are a couple of,
but we don't know.
There's no way to say definitively, but there are a couple of like clues. I think it was end of November. It was the UK that the PS5 was like outselling it. Like some analyst was like, well, if you go and look at this and this number, they're outselling it like by X number. And then there's the I just had it in my brain and now it went away. Oh, the number of consoles saying that like we have outsold the PlayStation 5 pre-orders, outsold the PlayStation 4 numbers. So like they're like clues that like, well, if Xbox at least matched their last gen launch numbers, then they might have a chance against it. But we haven't heard literally nothing from Xbox. So
so can't do on that one. But it's like it's kind of like the Switch last year. It's like we didn't have all the data, so we had to make inferences.
If we get to January and the numbers come out and this was the one point that would have made me win instead of you, then we can figure out your punishment. But
okay, absolutely. Let's do that. PS5, this is a 4th prediction. PS5 will be one SKU. Not even separate hard drive sizes. So not even like a 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte. Right. Like just one PS5, that's it.
Literally double that. So, nope.
Literally double that. Yeah, we had 2. But you were right, though. There was no separate hard drive size SKU. Yep. It was just a digital and a non-digital, but there were 2 distinct SKUs.
I was so adamant. I was like, they're gonna simplify this, and that's why they're gonna win. They're not gonna be confusing with a Lockhart and an Anaconda. Nope.
Yeah. The final prediction, Google Stadia will get their act together by E3 and will see steady parity with third-party game launches.
Nope. None of it.
So I went through, Wikipedia does a really good, like, super long list of every single game that comes out in a year. Like the big notable ones, not every single game. Yeah. There were 10, third-party releases that solidly came to Stadia as well, like Cyberpunk, Avengers. So I think there was greater parity than there was last year. A lot of this is Ubisoft games are still coming out on Stadia. So I'm totally fine giving a half a point on this one because Cyberpunk was like third party. There were big third party releases, but you still didn't have like Call of Duty. Right. Like other like it was basically looking at the list, it basically seemed like EA Sports has an agreement to be on Stadia. Ubisoft has an agreement to be on Stadia. And there's just kind of random ones outside of that, like Doom Eternal or Cyberpunk. So I think that it is starting to become what you were talking about. So I'm totally fine with a half a point here.
I will reject your pity point. But thank you, Holden.
It's not a pity point. I looked it up.
No, I mean, when I made this prediction, as far as I can remember a year ago, before the world destroyed my brain, what I intended with this one was that by the end of the year, every third-party game that's coming to all consoles will launch along. Like Google Stadia will no longer have to wait, and Call of Duty obviously proved that wrong. So,
Okay.
it did not meet what I intended. But thank you for trying.
I maintain that's a half a point because they still have the EA Sports partnerships, which you didn't have before. So if you want it, you can take it. You're saying no. That's cool,
okay. Listen, I will take my 1/2 of a point that you gave me for number one, and if I end up winning, if I take the second half a point, then I will take it. But if I still beat you with a half a point, then I'll reject it. I'll be humble. Let's move on to you.
All right, so I'm gonna give. All right. So first prediction I made was Half-Life Alyx will be the first VR game nominated for Game of the Year, which it was going to be the Game Awards itself, which did not happen.
Yeah, that
Hades was nominated, but not Half-Life Alyx.
Hades fucking sucks.
Honestly, that really surprised me.
We'll never play it just because people thought it was better than Last of Us. Hades sucks.
So no point there for me. This next one's hysterical. Games without release dates that are just for sure coming in 2020. This is so wrong. Ghostwire Tokyo. No, definitely not happening. I said Breath of the Wild 2, which will retain the Of the Wild nomenclature. Definitely didn't happen. Hollow Knight Silksong. Nope. Didn't even hear a peep about that game. Elden Ring. Nope. Nope. So just a lot of no. Not even partial points. I had 4 predictions in that one. Not even partial points. They were all wrong. And goddamn, I'm going to make that same prediction again for 2021. Number 3. Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo are going to be next-gen exclusive, which did turn out to be true. They're not coming to last-generation consoles. They're only coming to PS5, and they'll come to Series X later
as
on.
Well? I guess, yeah, because it's a PS5
I'm pretty
exclusive.
sure, yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, feel free to look it up. But Deathloop for sure, and Ghostwire Tokyo I'm pretty certain of as well.
This fucking MacBook has this Bluetooth issue every once in a while. I'll have to turn off my accessories and turn it back on. 0 out of 10. Apple sucks.
While you're looking up that, I will say my next prediction, which was Microsoft will get teases of new information, but in the first half of the year, and then there's going to be a big blowout at E3 that explains a lot more. And that's not what happened. What ended up happening is they were very front-loaded with information, and then as the year went on, they had less and less to show off. So literally the opposite. So no points there. The second part of that prediction was that Forza Motorsport was going to be the launch next-gen exclusive Xbox title, because we knew Halo Infinite at the time was going to become an Xbox One as well. And basically the point was there's got to be something that's next-gen exclusive at their launch. They're not going to do a launch with no next-gen exclusives. It turns out that's exactly what happened.
How did they launch without a Forza game? That still blows my mind.
I know.
Or even a mention of
your
one.
Audio or your video's cutting in and out on my end.
Well,
in Discord, it keeps.
So perfect. Oh, is it switching? Is it switching between cameras? Is that what it's doing?
I think that's what it's doing. Yeah.
By the way, I looked into Ghostwire Tokyo, and everyone look at Holden and all the things going on down here. Looked into Ghostwire Tokyo, and you are correct. That and whatever the fuck are both coming to next gen only.
Boom.
Whoa!
Forza wasn't there though.
Yeah, I'm having some fun issues here.
Yeah. I'm actually going to hide our video because it's kind of disorienting to have this flashing video feed.
I'm going to unplug my camera and plug it back in.
Yeah. I'm going to just hide your video for a second while you fix that. My last prediction was a kind of long one for PS5. There was 3 parts to this. The first part is that there's going to be an event before the end of March. It's going to be a big blowout event. It's going to have the release month, the price, and games are going to be teased. Part 2, the E3 event is going to be primarily focused on trailers for games. This is where we're going to go beyond the game teases and get the full-on kind of view of all these big games. And then my third prediction was a launch title, which is going to be Ratchet and Clank. So breaking down all that, starting with Ratchet and Clank, they did announce a Ratchet and Clank game, but it is not a launch title for PS5. When I said that, I did not mean within the launch window, which I think could not even that could be argued for, because we don't really even know when it's releasing at this point. Like if it came out in February, like yeah, maybe we could still consider that release window, but we just can't say anything for certain on that. So for that portion, I at least knew that there was going to be a Ratchet and Clank game on PS5. So that's partial point, I would say.
Can you do me a favor? Can you, when you start making games for real as a developer, can you make a game called Rat Shit and Spank?
That sounds like a porn game.
It just sounds like a nasty-ass porn game. You watch John Oliver?
Occasionally.
Have you seen the few episodes where he displays the pictures of the rats like making love and fucking in different? No, it's like these humanoid rats, and they're like laying in bed after sex, or they're like 69ing each other, and but they're like really tastefully done, but they're rat people. Oh man, sorry.
That's funny. No worries.
So justify your partial point here again. You're gonna win no matter what, because fucking A. But
so the partial point is that they did announce a Ratchet and Clank game for PS5.
Right.
It's just not a launch game. And there was no word, there was no announcement of that. It's not like there was even Insomniac saying, hey, at some point in 2020, we're going to show off a Ratchet and Clank game. Like, we knew nothing about it.
Okay, so this will get you with a half of a third of a point. Is that correct?
A half of a third of a point. Yeah.
All right.
Let's stick with that.
So what is that? That's 0.175 points or 0.165 points. What is a half of a third? That's
we have some more to break down here, because I actually got. At first, I'm like, oh, that was all wrong. But I'm actually like, actually, it's not, though. Like, E3 event will be primarily focused on game trailers. Like, yeah, we did get the hardware reveal for PS5 there, but it was primarily focused on trailers for games. And I specifically said that they were going to follow the...
They specifically said they weren't going to E3, just like Game Pass.
It was their E3 equivalent event.
Is that how you pitched it?
It was literally the same week. The point is, they had a summer. Fine, you don't give me points for that, but they gave a E3 timed event where there was just nothing but trailers, and then kind of 2 minutes at the end where they showed off the console. You don't want to reward points for that? That's fine.
Count that. No, we'll count that. That's a third of a point. So now you have 0.4. My brain hurts. What's 0.33 plus 0.16? That's 0.495. That's your points right now.
Okay. And then the other one was a first event would be before the end of March. Road to PS5 did happen before the end of March.
It did.
It was an event, but it was not a big blowout event. There was no release month. There was no price shown out. There was no game teases.
Title of the console back in like January. So
that wasn't an event, though. Like, the Road to PS5 was still an event, even though it was not a great event in my opinion. It was still an event. So I think I should get partial points for that as well.
Okay, so here we go. You had 4 qualifiers on that, though. It was a big blowout. Would give us the release month, the price, and the game teases.
Mm-hmm.
Well, technically there are 5 qualifiers. Like, there's an event before March. The event would have a big blowout, so there's 5. So I'm going to give you 0.2 of 0.33. So
boom.
A fifth of a third of a point. So it's 1/15 of a point added on to your 0.495 points. Shit. We're gonna figure out what this is.
Here, let's pull out a calculator.
0.495 plus 1/15. You get 0.562 points for that entire number.
0.562?
0.562.
All right. So that brings our totals to Chad with 1 point and Holden with 1.562 points.
I've chosen to accept your half point on the Google Stadia thing. So yes, I'm with 1 point. You're at 1.562 points. But remember, in January, if I end up getting the point for outselling the Xbox, then I have to punish you somehow. So just remember,
You have to punish me
you get to choose the barf games. But no, there's a penalty if I end up winning. So,
and in our defense for all this too, COVID totally shook up everything.
it did. It like a freaking soda gonna explode with some Mentos in it.
For all we know, Forza could have been a launch title for Series X, but it just couldn't have been because of COVID. Who knows? Who knows? Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo could have been planned for PS4 and Xbox One, but because of COVID, they just decided not to do it.
Sounds right.
It's totally possible. Sounds 100% right. So that's what we thought was going to happen in 2020. But what actually did happen in 2020? We have kind of 9 of the biggest stories of 2020 that we just kind of wanted to go back on and reminisce, or in some cases, just vent. Because some of these are so frustrating. Number 1, just COVID.
Yep.
And how basically every single gaming event was canceled as a result of COVID. Chad.
There are two conversations that I think about when I think of COVID canceling shit. One of them is us E3, our trip that we were going to take in June. And I remember being, I think it was like end of March or maybe early April, and we were like, well, is E3 still going to happen? Are we still going in June? Is the world going to be open by then? And E3 got canceled, and then we were like, that's okay. We can still take a trip to Disneyland. And then I was like, I don't know. Disneyland might not be open. And you were like, they're not gonna close Disneyland. Disneyland is not closing. I was like, they closed it in China. And you're like, oh, I don't know. Fucking Disneyland's been closed and dead for 9 months now. And then I think
Disney World is still open, I think, though,
Disney
isn't it?
World is still open, despite Florida being the frickin' idiot of the nation. But the second thing that I think about, I was talking to a coworker about this the other day, is before E3 happened, before June, well, it didn't happen, but before June, Microsoft announced we're canceling all in-person events until August 2021. And I remember at the time being like, whoa, man, you guys are taking it extra serious. You're being overly cautious right now. You're gonna take that back. And then now I'm like, is August too soon? Shouldn't you be saying cancel everything for the next 3 years or something like that? It's incredible how that all developed. How everyone thought, oh, we're gonna shelter in place for 2 weeks and everything's going back to normal. And then
also how things evolved in terms of people responding to it. Like, I still remember the first event that was canceled, the first prominent one in the video game industry at least, was PAX East. And the mayor of Boston reached out and was like, guys, this is really xenophobic to cancel PAX East. Please don't do it because of xenophobia. And it's like, actually, that was the right move to make.
Even before that, though.
Had nothing to do with...
Even before that, when PlayStation announced, PlayStation was the very first person to say, you know what, we're not going to Boston for PAX. And everyone was like, whoa, they're canceling their PAX thing. They're like, our employee safety. And then the mayor of Boston criticized them. They're like, no, please, that's ridiculous. And the xenophobic and all that kind of stuff. It's like,
yeah.
How naive we all
Sony,
were
a
back
global enterprise who benefits through all countries in the world, hates specific countries. It was, and then also too, something that I just want to kind of boast about and toot our own horns for. We didn't start the conversation, but we had the conversation about the impact that this is going to have on the console sales, like a good week or two before that conversation really started to become like prominent. Like, we talked about the possibility of a delay, and we maintained even back then, like, it's not going to delay the consoles because, there's just too many other factors involved. They'll just release with shortages, if anything. And that didn't even happen, actually, unless they were shorter than what they originally thought they were going to do. But like, kind of props to us for, I feel like, being at least like half a month ahead of everyone else on that. Like, we're
pat ourselves on the back.
Pretty awesome.
Hey, what's going on with your finger there? I meant to ask. What's you got painter's tape on it? Oh, now you're flipping me off. Thank you.
Yeah, so Whenever I have a Band-Aid I put on my finger, I always like wrap it up like this because like Band-Aids by joints always fall off.
Yeah.
This makes sure it doesn't fall off, so it looks more extreme. Oh, I just was grating, and I grated my finger a little bit.
Literally every single time I grate cheese on a cheese grater, the knuckle on my thumb becomes I get blood in the cheese all the time.
Do you see that pink mark right there on my thumb? Literally, I grated a chunk of my thumb off. It was
There
it was
has
gross.
to be a better way.
Speaking of better way, there were better consoles released this year. Next-gen consoles finally revealed and released. This is the most positive story we will be discussing on this show today. Yeah, I mean, the next-gen years are always... What are you pointing to?
It doesn't look like it from your camera, but from the one that's on OBS, I'm pointing to my PlayStation.
Gotcha. Okay.
It just looks like
you're
I'm probably
moving your
picking my
finger
nose or
around.
something on your camera.
Yeah, you're missing hardcore on that, Chad. Yeah, we finally got our next-gen console reveals. We finally got to kind of go through that process of the messaging and all that stuff. Chad, how did that... Was this a good, compared to other next-gen launch years, do you think this was, the best or, the worst or somewhere in the middle?
It was a freaking
Hand
roller
gestures.
Coaster. It's weird because I only really have one console launch to compare it to. I mean, back when the Xbox, GameCube, PS2 era, like that, there wasn't really 24-hour news outlets. The internet wasn't a great source of news. You were waiting for magazines and newspaper articles and things like that. So it was really hard to build hype and reveal information and stuff like that back then. So we really only have the 360 PS3 generation. Oh yeah, 360 PS3 and then PS4 generation to compare it to. So 2 other launches.
Yeah.
I feel like this one was, for me, the most exciting, but also the most stressful because of, we've talked about it at length, Sony's indecision with what they want to do and how, oh my God, I'm burping up this Mountain Dew like crazy. Whatever they want to, do we want to reveal things? Do we not? How do we reveal it? Pre-orders, all that fucking mess. So I was equally thrilled as fuck, and I was also super anxious about it. But I also was just talking to either Dallas or Matt. I can't remember. They blend together in my mind because they're both beautiful, wonderful human beings. I was telling one of them, I've already become used to the 60 frames per second. I've become used to the load times already, and I'm bored. I'm ready for next gen. I'm ready for PS6.
PS6?
Yep.
We still have so many non-cross-gen games to look forward to that will blow our minds.
I know. And each one that comes out is going to blow my mind even more, but it's just like, all right, I got used to Destiny on PS5.
This was a strange one, a strange console launch for me because, going back to the whole, you were saying, pre-360 kind of era, it was very different. I remember seeing Nintendo DS in a magazine and going whoa, that's cool. And then, months later, I'm oh, it's out now. It just didn't, the narrative is different when you don't have the internet all the time. But, comparing this launch cycle to PS4 and Xbox One, which was just so divisive, just so much juicy gossip to dig into with how Microsoft was fucking up and Sony's this is how you share a game video. All that stuff was that was an epic launch lead up. And then the Switch's launch lead up, which was literally a trailer released in October, and it was oh, whoa, that was incredible. That was the best. And then not hearing anything until January. And then finding out that Mario and Zelda are coming out this year, oh my God, I felt it. I was so epic. Within a year of getting this console, I'm going to have the 2 biggest franchises I look forward to in a Nintendo system. That was really exciting for me. And I feel this time around, everything was so frustrating with, we're going to announce this in April of 2019 and say we're working on it and then not share anything for more than a year after that. And it was so drawn out to me that I you kind of said, it got frustrating after a while. Yeah. But I still love the console so much. I'm still happy with the PS5. But I do feel it was so drawn out. And I kind of am looking forward to a next generation lead up that's not centered around COVID and working around COVID. So I feel like that was a huge contributing factor to kind of that, like, just again how everything's elongated. But at the same time, I'm thinking, what is really going to happen with future console generations next time that's going to be so exciting? Like, that's just not going to be as exciting because there's might not be as much to really show off, and that's upsetting. Like, COVID kind of ruined maybe like the last like really awesome like change in console lead up. Like, what would have happened if we had all the commentary of people using the DualSense controller at an E3 event before the console came out? But we just missed out on so much. Instead, we got a video of Jeff Keighley going, "I feel something," and it was just. It wasn't bad. I don't want to sound like I hated it. Like, it was enjoyable. It was fun. Like, it was fun to theorize. But, like, really think that we kind of missed out on the last really great console lead up by having COVID interfere. It's a bummer. A bummer. Might be a bummer. Might not be a bummer for this next one. We don't really know yet. But Microsoft buys Bethesda.
Nah. That is crazy. That is a huge get.
Yeah.
We really won't understand the impact of it and all of that for probably years to come. But that's huge news. That's an investment right there.
And this is one, because we won't know for years how this is going to play out. This could be one of those things where we'll look back and be like, oh my God, remember when Microsoft bought the Bethesda? It opened up all these new things we're seeing. This is amazing. Or I might look back and go, do you remember when Microsoft wasted $7.5 billion on Bethesda and how worthless that ended up being? It's hard to
like middle ground where we're like, oh man, that new Bethesda game. Oh, that's right. Microsoft owns them, don't they? Oh, yeah, I guess they do.
I'll be enjoying this on my PlayStation 5 now. Yeah, it's so uncertain how that's looking. It's hard to go like talk about like where this is going. We have no idea. One thing that we do kind of have an idea of where it's going, and it's just really cool to see growing and expanding, is Game Pass. It's just continuing to have the strong momentum, and now it has EA Play like included with it. I feel like this was Game Pass's year. Like, we've known about it, we've liked it, but yeah, it became something. It became part of the zeitgeist of gaming in a way that like Netflix is part of the zeitgeist of like the movie world.
And for so many casual gamers, like, this is going to be the only way they consume games too. Like, get an Xbox and Game Pass, and then just like movies, we're like, oh man, that movie looks awesome. I'm going to go see it in a theater, and some people are like, no, wait for it to come to Netflix. That's how it's going to be with games. Like, oh my God, this next game looks so great. And they're like, I'll wait for Game Pass whenever it's there eventually. It's crazy.
I had my cousin reach out to me, and he's like, hey, with COVID going on, I'm thinking about getting a game console. Like, what should I get? And at first I was thinking like, oh, the Switch and the PS5, because all the great exclusives. I'm like, but that doesn't I have to think about this from someone who's outside of the industry and who wants to come into it. And I'm like, getting an Xbox with Game Pass is actually the best way to get into gaming right now, because like
just
I'm like, oh, what genres do you want to?
And a phone.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, because I'm like, like what genre do you want to play? Are you interested in playing sports games or RPGs? And I'm like, you can't know that until you play games, and Game Pass opens that up in a way that we've never had before. So like, it's the best entry point into gaming. Period.
There's a caveat here. EA Play is delayed. I think it's only delayed. It got delayed on Christmas.
Oh, did it get delayed?
It was supposed to be,
that.
but I think it only got delayed on PC. Maybe it's still on console.
It's still happening.
It's still happening, yeah, and it's still coming to iOS via a browser in the spring. It's jump on it.
Big stuff. Speaking of epic stuff. Epic is suing Apple.
One of the
because
stupidest
of the whole
lawsuits
free
in the entire
Fortnite.
fucking world.
It is really, really, really dumb. I don't know how else to put it other than that. It's really, really dumb. I feel like if you start talking about this one, it's going to turn into a super long conversation or rant. And I kind of feel like we have 2 episodes, I think, very much dedicated to this topic that I kind of recommend going back. But I think we both kind of sit on Epic is being a bunch of whiny babies about this. And they're just not acting in a way that's going to change anything meaningfully. And they might have hurt progress, actually. So that's a shame. I do want to call out something, though, because Darby sent this video. He tagged me this video this article on Twitter, which was Greg Miller getting a box that says free Fortnite on it. They open it up, and it's Fortnite a Fortnite jacket, which jacket looks fine. No comment on the actual contents of the box itself, but it's shipped with like a Samsung Galaxy Tab 7, and this like little placard that says that Fortnite has won the Game of the Year on the Samsung Galaxy Store, which like no one cares about the Samsung Galaxy Store to start off with, but like.
Not even the Google Play Store, the Samsung Galaxy Store.
Yeah, the Samsung Galaxy Store. And it's just, I guess what pisses me off so much about that is it just goes to show how much this is a marketing effort on Epic's part than it is anything else. It's just like abusing justice system to get what they want, and they're literally using it as a marketing tool. It's just so fucking gross, and it's like, I hate to be one of those people who like capitalism's terrible, but like this is one of the worst aspects of like modern day capitalism, outside of like the exploitation, like labor, that kind of stuff, like, you know, in other countries. But like in terms of like what big companies want to do to achieve their means in literally abusing systems, like this is in that like echelon of like worst things a company I think can do. It's just so fucking stupid and egregiously terrible. It bothers me to no end. If you want to add anything, I'm sorry. I ranted. I didn't mean to.
We've said everything we need to say, and Darby's right. If we get talking about it, it'll be a 4-hour podcast.
Apple kind of allows streaming services after much chain yanking. So basically, after Apple got a bunch of bullshit from Google and Microsoft about how they treat streaming services, Apple decided, okay, we'll allow it, but in this really strange way, or you can make web apps, and then both companies just opted to make web apps.
Yeah, I wonder how Apple's going to respond to that, knowing that like you could have this really complicated and convoluted way of putting it on the App Store, where we have to have every single game separate and we have to review them, blah, or you can just skirt all of that and do the exact same thing in Safari. And I wonder how they're going to respond to that. Like, oh, obviously people want to use these services, and there's going to be a ton of traffic through Safari for it. We're like, why not? Why not let them just have an app?
This just dawned on me right now, like just this moment. So this is not like super well thought out. Just dawned on me. On Apple TV, right? You have this experience of just saying, "Hey, show me comedy movies," or like whatever like it is, right? That you're looking for, and it'll be like, "Hey, here's Mrs. Doubtfire. It's a comedy movie. It's available on Netflix. It's available on iTunes to rent. It's also a part of like Showtime right now." And it kind of just lets you choose which service you want to watch it through. Do you think that Apple maybe was trying to do that with games, where you would just say, "Hey, I'm looking for first-person shooter games," and then it'll be like, "Hey, here's this game and here's that game, and here's Call of Duty, and you can play it in Google Stadia, or you can play it in Xbox Game Pass, or you can get it through our new service or whatever." And they were kind of using that as a way to set up that infrastructure by having individual titles available in the App Store.
I don't think so. I mean, that's a cool thought.
Even that doesn't hold up, though, because HBO now doesn't, or Max doesn't show Wonder Woman 1984 as an individual title in the iTunes Store and as well as in their streaming service. It's just in their streaming service. Yeah. So that doesn't even hold up, because
also the number.
Why the fuck does Apple do it like this way?
Like Apple relies upon streaming services to provide that information. Like, hey, here is all of our catalog. Load it into your systems. Mm-hmm. And then you think about the games, like the millions of games on the App Store, for it to then like catalog each one and know how popular. I guess they have all of that information, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
To be able to ask, like, show me popular phone games. How do you? I don't know. It just seems like such an effort that is gonna be waste. Like, no one's gonna use that. Mm-hmm. It's not gonna work how you want it to. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. It's a mess. Yeah. We'll see what happens. I think you bring up a good question, though. Do you think when they see it's successful on Safari web browsing kind of experience, if they just say, "Hey, all right, fine, you can put a Stadia app on the phone"?
It's like exactly like what happened with the App Store itself. Like, people built web apps for iPhone, and they became so successful that Apple's like, "Oh, we need to get in on this. Let's let them build native apps, and then we can charge a 30% cut." And like, why not take advantage of that? If Microsoft's allowing you and Google's allowing you to take a cut of their streams of their subscriptions for Game Pass and for Stadia, why not let them do that?
I know. And that's another good point I bring up too. The App Store. The App Store was created in less than a year. And I don't mean like just the App Store, like the app itself. All the APIs and tools they give developers to make native applications, like all of that was created in a year. They were very, very adamant that web apps was the future of application development on iPhone in the first year. And everyone was like, no, that's a fucking joke, right? Because that's not what we want. And actually, it was less than a year because it was like March of 2008 when they announced the SDK. So they could totally turn this around. And by the end of next year, we have just straight up streaming services on. That's a much smaller task to accomplish than creating an app store like that, and they have far more resources now than they did back then as well. So yeah, it's totally possible. It could totally happen.
A little bit of just swallowing your pride though. So
yeah, this next one I don't want to go too in depth with because literally our last 2 episodes are dedicated to this topic, and we're even going to talk a little bit about it later on. And that's just the Cyberpunk 2077 launch woes. It didn't go well. I liked the game though, and I feel like that's basically the very brief summary of the past 2 weeks of discussion on that. But Jed, do you have anything specific you want to add to that before we move on?
No. What a letdown. Let's move on to something exciting. Unreal Engine 5, Holden. I totally forgot about this unveiling. But yeah, what a freaking... It's coming next spring, I think they said, in spring 2021. It's going to be available for developers to actually ship, and that's so freaking cool.
Mm-hmm. And there are big games that are transitioning to Unreal Engine 5 right now, too. So it's I think like Senua's Sacrifice or Senua's Saga, the second Hellblade game, I think was Unreal Engine 4. Now it's transitioned to Unreal Engine 5. So there's big prominent games that are being transitioned over. Very exciting. It was our first real look at next-gen games.
Exactly. That
even
was
though
the
it wasn't
event.
actually a game.
I remember exactly where I was and what I was thinking, sitting on the toilet, watching that on my iPad.
The best possible way to view that video.
Oh my God, this is amazing. Yep, I remember.
I've watched
one of those
it
things
so
like
many times
9/11.
since.
Remember where you were.
Oh my God.
I mean, they're comparable. They made an
opposite
impact.
end. Yeah, the opposite end of the spectrum.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, I guess I can see the connection between Unreal Engine 5 and 9/11. And last but not least on our list here is Luna/xCloud launch to compete with Stadia. So basically, this is kind of the year where cloud services for gaming have been taken seriously, or not necessarily by consumers, but by big corporations who want to make money off of them.
And for
which
them
is
to
the
launch
first step in anything happening.
For them to launch in a way that works. Like Stadia came out of the gate and it stumbled, but like Microsoft put something together and launched it on a huge platform across Android, and it works. And Luna, they're in beta testing still with like small groups, but from what I'm reading, like people are liking it. The future.
Man, Google just should have waited. They just should have waited.
But if Google didn't come out and stumble, who knows whether these two would have even taken it as seriously or.
That's true. Yeah.
Even launched.
Yeah. Well, that is 2020. It was a pretty big year. There's some big stuff that happened.
Big year, despite the pandemic.
Yeah. In some ways, because of the pandemic, because things can change. We might get more digital events, which honestly, actually, we should touch on that really quickly. Do you want more digital events going forward as opposed to live in-person ones?
I'm conflicted because I like the digital events a lot because they're like a Toiger. I do not want as many of them as we got this year. But I also, like, I was so excited last year to go to E3 and to maybe go to PAX and think, like, I'm excited to get into this industry in a way that I haven't before in person.
Mm-hmm.
And I still want to do that. So I would love to have digital events going forward by, like, have Nintendo Directs, but still have the staples, still have PAX, still have E3.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I don't want E3 this year. It's still too soon. But
if a lot of these companies can kind of learn how to make their presentations better, I think I'd be okay with it. But there are so many presentations that are just so awkward because no one knew how to handle the digital format. But if Sony's model and Apple's model can be replicated, I think that I think I would prefer to have the digital.
I mean, you even see
events.
like the Game Awards. Like Jeff Keighley's streams started out kind of awkward in June, but then by the time we got to the Game Awards, it was like, wow, that was very impressive. Yeah. So people are.
Can you imagine if Jeff Keighley just did the Game Awards from his desk, like he did in those streams? That would be amazing. That'd be hysterical. Cool. So that is 2020. Chad.
Yes, sir.
What did you play this week? Moving on to playtime.
Playtime. Holden, let's talk about what we both played first. Godfall. We both played Godfall. Why are we playing Godfall? Because our community asked us. We polled and we said, hey, we're going to play. We have this choice of games for next gen. What do you want to hear about? So we played for like 3 hours-ish of Godfall. Got like a little over halfway through the game, I think. I played a little bit of single player today. We're going to have a full-on spoiler chat barf episode probably late this week or early next week about it, and I think I'm done with it. I think I'm done. I got to the boss of the water world today. Played it, did not have fun with it, and I said I'm done with this game. I'm going to save all of the criticism and talk about it for our barf episode next week. But right now, if anyone's thinking about, man, I got all this PlayStation credit on Christmas and I want to spend it on something, don't get Godfall. Don't get Godfall. We'll tell you why in a week, but don't get Godfall. Don't waste $70.
I, on the other hand, have found it to be a profoundly important game that I will remember and cherish for the rest of my waking life.
On opposite day.
Yeah, pretty much. It's not good. It's just really bland.
It's so bland.
Yeah, we'll go into it. But basically, like my one sentence thing, there's nothing like terrible about it. It's just very unremarkable, and there's nothing that stands out. So like, I don't think you would have a terrible time if you played it, but there are so many other games that you should be playing instead of Godfall.
That's what I ultimately decided, is that there are a lot of things that I can be playing right now, and everyone voted that I should be playing The Last of Us trophy platinum run, so I'm going to do that. But we played Destiny 2 some more, surprise. Holden, we are raid ready a week
I feel like you
yesterday.
said that last week, too.
No, last week I said we are getting raid ready, putting out the invites to everyone. Now we are raid ready. We sent out the invites. We've got it scheduled. It's for a week from yesterday. It's on Saturday. It's going to be us. It's going to be Kyle St. James. It's going to be Trevor. It's going to be Jericho's girlfriend, Audrey. It's going to be a wonderful time. We've already all watched the video, the strategy of how to do it. We're all shaking in our boots. And then to get ready for it, Matt and Dallas and I did what's called a dungeon. We did the Pit of Heresy dungeon to get an exotic machine gun called the Xenophage, which is really good for the upcoming raid. And oh man, we had a joyous time with that as well. It was super fun. I'm loving these, we are getting so into the meta of this game in a way that we never have before that is so satisfying. And looking back on the last time we raided, I was like, we were such little naive baby idiots walking in there, not having mods spec'd out right, not having Vorpal weapon. If I'm fighting a boss, I'm going to want to put on the boss spec mod on there so that it does more damage. I was such an idiot. But now we're so freaking prepared. We beat this new dungeon in an hour and a half and beat a secret boss within it. I sent them another dungeon that I want to do before next weekend as well. It looks like we might be doing that because we sent a lot of eyes emojis back and forth, which means y'all looking to do this? I'm looking to do it. You looking to do this? It's going to be great. Fucking love this game. And then Christmas games. We played 2 games at Christmas, and by we, I mean I and also we. The first I want to talk about is Super Mario Land 2, 6 golden coins. I got this as a present. I told the story about how my mom found my Game Boy. I restored it, got a glass screen, got a new sticker, got a battery pack, cleaned it, all that shit. And then for Christmas, I got this Game Boy game. This is the second installation of Super Mario Land, which is the Game Boy series of the games. It's also the one where Wario shows up for the first time. He's the final boss of the game. So there's a Halloween world in it too. It's great. I love this game. So played a little bit of that. Going to continue to play it. It is amazing how hard it is to see a Game Boy screen in normal everyday light, and then also in the dark. So.
Do you ever remember showing like your parents your like Game Boy? Maybe because your parents play games, so you might have gotten this.
Yeah,
but
my
they,
parents
like,
are
I can't even
currently
see the screen.
downstairs right now, so.
Oh, that's very cool. And your parents were like, I can't even see the screen. What are you even looking at? I can't even see this. And I'm like, it's right here. Obviously, you can see it, but yeah, like now you look at the Game Boy screen, like no backlight. You're like, how did I look at this when I was like 8 years old? How did I even play this thing?
And even the glare from an
gross.
overhead ceiling light. It's just like
Yeah.
in the middle of the daytime. It's like, oh, God, I can't see anything going on here. It's crazy. So I'm loving that. I'm looking to get... I went to a couple of stores. So there's... My mom and dad like this like retro store called Save Point. It's called Save Point in the university area in Charlotte. And they have all sorts of... Like, that's where they got this game. They have all sorts of retro consoles and games and stuff like that. And my mom was looking for a 3DS so she could play Donkey Kong Country Returns 3D on her 3DS. But we went in there. It was a really cool store. I didn't really see anything there. And then my mom was like, oh, they've got this store called The Grid. I've never been to it. Let's go. And it's literally a division of Goodwill. Excuse me. It says The Grid, powered by Goodwill. And it's all the people who donate their old electronics. They then resell them in this store. And it is cool. Gold mine for people our age who love games. There are literally shelves of just Wii's and GameCubes lined up and Nintendo 64s. And there was a Master System and there were like 5 original Xboxes and a ton of Guitar Hero controllers and Skylanders figures. It was so freaking cool. There were like 17 Lizzie McGuire Game Boy Advance games. What a dreamboat that store is. I loved it. But I'm collecting stuff and I'm looking to like get a Game Boy Advance now and get a couple of games to just play on it occasionally whenever I'm feeling nostalgic. So it was a big old tangent. But also on Christmas Day.
Get Minish Cap for it.
Minish Cap, whatever. Get out of here. On Christmas Day, my family, I'll just like briefly, we usually have my immediate family, my sister's family of 6, my brother's family of 5, and then my uncle's family of 6, and then neighbors and friends. And it's usually like 30-ish or more people over at the house for Christmas dinner and games afterwards. My sister-in-law's in-law, like a ton of people. We didn't have any of that this year, obviously because of COVID. So at night, we decided, hey, let's all play a game of Among Us. And we were like, okay, how do we do this? Well, everyone's in their own household. And I originally thought, we'll just merge calls. I'll just call everyone. We'll merge it up. We'll just be one speakerphone call. The same way we've done it kind of similarly with voice chat on Discord. Yeah. But I didn't want to have a bunch of old people trying to figure out how to use Discord. So I was like, yeah, we'll just call. We hit our call limit, apparently, with 4 people, and I couldn't add the 5th and final household. So I just did a big old WebEx. And I hosted a WebEx and invited people to it. And because we had 15 total people playing, we had to split it up into 2 teams. So we started out with, like, girls versus boys, or girls and boys, split them up, and then old people and young people, and then just, like, everyone who was left after people started dropping out. But we played for 2 hours. I can say having 2 different games going on the same call, big mistake. Big mistake. Especially whenever like there are dead bodies reported on both games at the same time and everyone's trying to talk and you can't tell, are you talking about a dead body in your game or the dead body in my game? I think so-and-so did it. They're not even in your game. So that was a little confusing. But I think the worst thing of all, we're all playing on mobile, I think the worst thing of all is Among Us has to figure out private rooms better. Because the fucking most frustrating thing in the world was trying to spell out that code to 15 people. V as in Victor. R. X as in xylophone. No, start over. Can you start over? I missed. What was the first one? V as in Victor. And then you would think, like, oh, we'll just text it everybody. They're already on their phones. But the message is going to come in. If you tap the message, you leave the game. And then you come back and you have to... It's big old headache. So they got to figure out a better way to do that. But once we were actually playing the game, it was a ton of fun. Hearing, like, my aunt who's in her 60s, who's, like, had quite a few glasses of wine, trying to be like deceptive and shit. She was a good person. She found a dead body. We're like, all right, Joe, where did you find it? And she goes, where did I find it? Like, yeah, where was the dead body? So we can try to figure out who did it. She's like, I'll never tell you. And I'm like, well, obviously we're gonna vote you off now. And then she was a good person. She was so like hearing old people's strategies of trying to play this game was fantastic. Highly recommend it.
It's like the worst time to be like, I'm not gonna say anything.
Anytime we tried to ask something of Joe, she was always just like, I'm not saying anything. And then we'd immediately eject her from the ship.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a fun game.
That's it. That's all I played this week. That's a lot of shit.
I'm not going to talk too much because it's just some of the same stuff that you played last week. Mass Effect Andromeda, played more of that. I'm enjoying it. Taking it slowly, but I'm enjoying it. I'm getting into it more. I'm past the point now where I stopped before. Gotcha. So I'm more into it. But it's not giving me those same like Mass Effect original trilogy, like, warm fuzzies. Nah, it's not like horrible. Then I played more Animal Crossing New Horizons because I love that game.
You got butt deep in that.
Yeah, I did. I am redoing not my whole island, but I'm like redoing the east coast of my island, completely revamping that. And then I revamped my walkway to my house, and it is amazing. I'm just saying, it's really good. I'm really happy with it. I even have my house designed to match the design of the area around it. It's just really good looking. I'm really, really pleased with how it turned out. But that's all for what I played this week. As with Godfall, we already talked about that.
I've been getting literally 0.0194% of an itch to play Animal Crossing again because a friend of mine, a coworker, has a Switch and has had Animal Crossing, but then another coworker just got a Switch and got Zelda and got Mario and then also got Animal Crossing. And then seeing the two of them be like, oh, I'm going to help you with your island. Oh, I'm going to go visit it. Oh, this is so nice. Well, oh, look at all the holiday decorations. They're like, oh, I want to fucking be included. I want to play with people. I got so much FOMO just because they're playing Animal Crossing and I'm not, that I almost thought about turning on my Switch for anything at all. And then I said, no, you're going to hate it.
I would love to get everyone in the group back up on Animal Crossing again, trading turnip prices, because I'm starting to roll low on money now. I could use the help with the turnip prices.
No. If our text chat turns into turnip prices again every single day, twice a day, what are your morning, what are your afternoon ones? I send it back.
You send it back. One accomplishment that did happen this week that I'm so happy about. I already got my island to a 5-star island. Very exciting. But now I have my house as an S-class house.
Ooh, what does that mean?
Which is the highest. Basically, there's something called the Happy Home Academy, and they just will look at your house to make sure like your furniture is matching in a room, that it all looks really good and all that stuff. And the highest rank you can get is S, and I've been trying to get that, and I got it. I'm very happy.
In Metal Gear Solid, you can get double S on some things, so...
Maybe there is a double S tier. I don't know.
Gotta keep going. Make everything in the house glow. Dabba-dee-dabba-die.
I do have one cool thing I'm doing in my house now where... This is the last thing, I promise. Where I'm taking all the records that you get for your CD player that are all basically just KFConsole songs. Right. And I'm trying to collect all of them. But at a certain point, you start getting duplicates. And I'm like, oh, what can I do with these duplicates? So I'm literally just hanging them up in my kind of entryway, which is kind of like the game room. There's a bocce table. There's, pool. There's a ping pong table. And then I'm going to have all the walls lined up with all the records
that was our college
that I have. So just basically... Yeah.
We literally went to Goodwill and just found a bunch of random records and put them all over the walls.
So I'm doing. It's looking really good so far, so I'm happy with it. But that's the last about Animal Crossing. That's not the last of it. I'm going to play a lot more of it, but it's good. It's good shit. What else is good shit? Is we have a good... this is a weird term. I've always thought it was good shit, because I'm like, but shit's not a good thing. You wouldn't be like, oh, that's shit. and then be like, oh yeah, he said a compliment about my thing.
But it's
if
also
you're
like,
"That's
oh
good
man, that's
shit,"
the shit. There's a if you
Yeah,
say
it's-
that's shit, no, that's bad. That's the shit. That's the best thing I've ever seen.
Yeah. And then good shit, you don't even have to the or that. It's just good shit is good for some reason. It's weird. It
You
doesn't
say
make
good
any
the
sense.
Shit, it's bad.
It's good the shit. It's just something that always like I've literally had paranoia about having said good shit about something and be like, do they take that as I meant that it was bad? Because that's not how I meant good shit. I meant like that's the shit.
But then you say,
It's
but
not.
then there's also that's good as shit,
Yeah.
which is strangely a good
But wait.
thing.
Yeah. It
This-
doesn't make any sense.
This reminds me of. It's very quick, I promise. It's a very quick story. I was talking to someone, a text chat support for something. I don't remember what it was. And they asked me, like, is it okay if I do blah, 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 blah? And I was like, yeah, that's terrific. And then they were silent for a little bit, and then I saw them typing, and then they weren't typing anymore, and then a question popped up. I'm sorry, English isn't my first language. Is that a bad thing? And I was like, no, it's great. It's great. It's wonderful. It's fine. It's terrific is good. And then I thought about it, terrific. Like, it stems from the same prefix, like terror. It's
Terror,
like, oh,
yeah,
terrific. It's like
yeah.
it's like great, as in like bad, like a big giant terrific. Like, oh,
Yeah.
interesting how we never catch on to that as fluent speakers, but other people are like, that's weird that word is good.
Oh yeah, there's lots of odd like hypocrisies in the English language. I can't speak to other languages, but I'm going to go ahead and assume that they're there as well. We're not unique. All other languages are perfect. That's why tons of people still speak Latin to this day. All right, moving on to the Sony Quest log. Sony has 7 TV shows and 3 movies in development based on PlayStation games. This is right from the CEO of Sony. What's the film? Sony Pictures. Right from that guy's mouth. So this is all legit. There's no word if the Uncharted movie or the Last of Us HBO show are a part of that 7 TV shows 3 movie tally. Sony will not be doing a streaming/cinema dual launch for their movies, just like we saw with Wonder Woman and kind of all of the Warner Bros. Movies that are coming up. But there is a new program called One Sony that will allow for better communications between divisions at Sony. So presumably people working in games can kind of help out with the creation of these shows, so it's not like there's, they're just going in crazy different directions. And next thing you know that, Nathan Drake is actually like flips hamburgers at McDonald's, and it's like an uprising story of him. But we don't know anything about this, but it's kind of cool to know that there's that much in development. Chad, what do you think are the best possible franchises that could be translated to TV or film or both, or what do you think would be the best?
Outside of an HBO The Last of Us series, none of them. And
None of them.
I'm kind of cautious that they're developing 7 shows and 3 movies under PlayStation Studios at once, or PlayStation Productions.
It's a big start.
Usually, like, I would love for them to try 1 or 2 things, learn from those things, and apply those learnings to something else. But no, they're just like, all right, we like this idea, let's do it everywhere, and then all of them are going to fail, or all of them are going to be. I wish they would kind of take their time, but. Obviously, the more drama focused, like the things that aren't super action, like God of War, don't think it would be good. It'd end up like Clash of the Titans. It'd be just like an action movie. Or 300, like a dope ass action movie, but like not a great movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, like just the narrative stuff. Maybe a side story in Uncharted, but even then it's all around the big set pieces, and it's like it is Indiana Jones, so.
Yeah, I feel that. Like, I think it's cool they're working on these things because I would like to see what they can do. I've been surprised in the past. I thought the Pokemon movie, Detective Pikachu, was going to be really bad. I really liked that movie a lot. So I think that there's a possibility that they could take something and turn it into a good show or movie. But I'm thinking like 7's a lot. What could they really do? I think you're making good points. Like Uncharted and Last of Us kind of the only things that are palatable to TV and movie, but it's also because so much of that has been inspired by TV and movies. I do think Horizon can make a good show because there's a lot of world building and things to explore in a TV show. I think that could work, but that's a very...
Like that too.
Yeah, it wouldn't even have to be about Aloy. They can just make it about like a different region of this future society. Like they could do some cool stuff with that, but if they made like a Parappa the Rapper like TV show, like I just feel like that would be terrible. That would be really, really awful.
You got to think about this too. Like they're probably making 7 TV shows, not all of which are HBO caliber Last of Us stuff.
Yeah,
they're probably exploring that content scale. I'm sure they see the success of Supergirl, Arrow, that whole Arrowverse, not Edge of Tomorrow, whatever, and I don't even remember what they're called, but like that whole like CW style series where there's like they're not good, but people still love to watch them anyway. I'm sure they're like, all right, what can we make a shitty show out of that we own and put on the CW as well and make a lot of money? Like I'm sure there's a range of quality that we're looking at across these 7 TV shows, and not all of them are going to be big budget HBO stuff.
Also a range for kind of audience maturity, if you will.
Yeah.
Like, obviously The Last of Us being on one spectrum, but like I joked about Parappa the Rapper, but I think like a Little Big Planet kids show actually might not be the worst thing ever if you were a kid and into that. But I think you're right. Like if they're making this many, quality does not usually come with quantity.
Right. Especially
like
as PlayStation Productions is brand new. Literally never worked on anything before. So.
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll see. I guess so we've tried to talk about what we thought were some of the best. Can we answer what we think some of the worst would be? Like what would be some of the worst things that they can make a show out of that just wouldn't work?
Well, this immediately popped into my mind as a joke, but then I remembered that it is one of the 7. Twisted Metal.
It is one of the 7. You're right. They did announce that already. Oh man, I forgot about that. That would be bad because I don't have much experience with Twisted Metal, but it seems like it's that kind of tone of there's some really serious subjects in this. There's also some really goofy ridiculousness that together in a game makes sense, but wouldn't translate to any other medium.
Yeah. And to see like
it would
a
just
guy in a
strange.
big wheel and then a F1 racer car that does tornado twister like that, all of that in no, it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. Holden.
Yeah, I think you're right. That would be really bad. Yeah.
The
I'm trying to
guy
think
who
what
drives
would
an
be
ice
even
cream
worse
truck
than
and his
that.
head's on fire. Just like these do not make good TV shows.
We already know that Ratchet and Clank didn't make a good movie, so we already know that one.
Yep.
That's not going to work. Yeah, I can't think of one. It's weird because there's so many that I think would be bad. There's actually harder to think of what would be good. Like I can't imagine. Yeah, I can't imagine like a Dreams TV show. Like what would that even be? Like it's so hard to translate some of these things. Yeah. Well, we'll find out soon enough. Also, these 7 projects or 7 TV shows, 3 movies could be canceled. Like they might not even actually.
I mean, they could
things
be
are
like
working on right now.
Halo series is never gonna come out.
That is so still gonna happen. Speaking of so gonna happen, can't believe this looks like it's gonna happen. Is KFC launches its own console, a mini PC with chicken warmer. Says Autocracky at DualShockers. First of all, just 2 things. It's more powerful than a PS5 and Xbox Series X, so it's not. This is actually a pretty substantial device, and it's made in partnership with KFC Gaming, Cooler Master, Asus, and Seagate.
Yeah.
It's forgivable to think this is a joke. Because it really does look like an April Fool's joke. Like we should have seen this April Fool's, but this does not appear to be a joke.
It is. It's a very expensive marketing thing for sure. It is happening. It is coming out. I do believe that they're going to launch this thing, but I do believe it's going to be an incredibly limited number of things.
No, yeah, I don't think there's going to be like
100 maybe at
what's
maximum,
the market share of the KFC or the KFConsole? What's the market share? It's how many millions of units did it sell? Is not a conversation that we'll be having.
But essentially, it's like a Steam box. It's a pre-made PC basically with all of these components, and then the case also happens to have a chicken box in it that warms your chicken.
Here's what's weird to me. I mean, besides the obvious that they're putting chicken to warm up inside of a PC. Besides that obvious kind of weird thing, something else that's really strange to me is normally you hear things like, oh, we've gotten our PC to run so cool. It's, very energy efficient and, it cooling is a big thing in the PC world. You have like liquid thermal like cooling options, like just normal like straight up liquid cooling. You have like your normal air vents. Like that's an important part of building a PC. And they're like, no, fuck it, let's make it hot so we can warm up chicken. Like,
but can you think
it's just like
that chicken drawer is going to be the best heat sink on the planet? They're going to do like all of that material, the aluminum, whatever. Not aluminum, because that's going to be a terrible thing to keep warm, but. They're going to just, rather than taking all of that heat and trying to disperse it, they're going to be like, let's just channel it into the chicken thing, and that can keep the rest of it cool.
That's going to be bad for those components. Like, you would never be like, let's put our PC inside of an oven while it's cooking French fries. That'll keep it nice and cool. It's such a strange thing. Also, like, the tray holds 2 pieces of chicken. I will eat those 2 pieces of chicken well before they get cold. And then what am I going to do? Like, put 2 pieces of chicken in there and then like cycle it where like once I finish those 2 I put 2 more in, but now those pieces are cold and there's not enough like heat in there to actually reheat them, just to keep them warm. Like it's just, the whole thing is so strange. But you're right, it's a gigantic marketing effort that's just, it worked because here we are talking about it. Moving on to our fetch quests. We have actually an important one here, but I feel like everything about the story to talk about we've already talked about. So if you have anything else you want to add, Chad, you can. I feel like this is basically the same thing we've been talking about for the past 2 weeks. Excuse me. Cyberpunk 2077. CD Projekt Red could face a class action lawsuit over misrepresentation, says Adam Bankhurst at IGN. Investors and lawyers in Warsaw, Poland, according to the New York Times, are considering a class action lawsuit for CD Projekt Red's misrepresentation of Cyberpunk 2077, basically just for everything we've talked about in the past 2 weeks. The disingenuous marketing, not showing off the console, the whole review code, just being disingenuous.
Yeah. This is...
I think they have a case.
I honestly do think that they have something to at least settle, and I don't know if refunding games for people who want them... I think at the very least, what will come of this is... there will be an extended return date or refund date as a settlement. Mm-hmm. At the very most, I think anyone who bought the game might be eligible for some kind of payout. But I think they also said that they don't even have like a primary defendant for it yet. They don't call it a defendant in a class action. What do they call it? I don't remember. But they don't even have like one person who represents the whole yet that's gonna go on trial. But yeah, they have enough to be scared about that I think they're going to come to some kind of settlement.
Yeah, they're going to have to. That'll be cheaper than the repercussions if it went through all the way.
Yeah, although they have 13 million of that game freaking sold, despite it all. So. Yeah,
including the refunds. I forgot to include that. But yeah, that's important too. What's also important is that GameStop is now accepting returns for, quote, defective Cyberpunk 2077 copies, says Ian Walker at Kotaku. So basically, here's how this works. You go to GameStop, you say, hey, I'd like to return Cyberpunk 2077. The GameStop employee says yes, and then the GameStop employee has to put a sticker that says defective on it, so when they send it back to the warehouse, it's basically it's just going to be gotten rid of.
That is so strange.
This is kind of a strange, it's a very strange process. I think my guess is that they had to have that kind of process in there to eat the costs somehow, because it breaks their own return policy, but then they can't just break their own policy because it's their policy that they're breaking. Like, I don't know, it's weird they had to do it this way, but it feels like one of those like exceptions they had to make to systematically and accounting wise like work within the company.
You know what it is? It's 100% so that they can't. It's exactly like that. It's a policy thing so that they can't say, all right, CD Projekt Red, give us our $60 back because this person returned it. And so CD Projekt Red pays them for the game again, and then keeps GameStop from immediately just turning around and selling it used for $55, and CD Projekt Red sees like CD Projekt Red is paying GameStop so that GameStop can make twice the cost of the game. So I'm sure they're like, all right, now we have to destroy these discs.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, you're right. You're 100% right. This next story. Monster Hunter movie makes $2.2 million in U.S. opening weekend. In other news, the movie came out. I didn't even know it had come out.
I know 2 people that saw it in theaters.
What did they say?
They said it was bad, very bad. They said, surprise, you risked your life for that.
I risk my life for Tenet, but that's Tenet. That's different. That's important.
My best friend went and saw Monster Hunter in theaters Christmas Day, and there was literally 0 other people at the entire theater. Not even just in his cinema, but at the theater. So.
Oh yeah, not surprised. Yeah. Not surprised at all about that. I'm not a Monster Hunter fan. And even I knew when I saw the trailer, oh, this has nothing to do with Monster Hunter in the slightest. Why do they do that? Like, you're making that movie for people who are interested in Monster Hunter. Otherwise, what audience are you making it for? Like, it's very confusing. It's very confusing to me.
They're making a big kaiju game for people in Asia. Or, a big kaiju movie for people in Asia to go see, and then for anyone else who happens to have who wouldn't normally see it, they just put the Monster Hunter name on it to say, oh yeah, by the way, we're just going to try to scrape up as many of you fans as we can too. Like this, the movie was intentional. It was not a Monster Hunter movie. It's still going to make a lot of money in Asia, but then they're just trying to rope in as many
here's my
other people
pitch.
as possible.
Here's my pitch. You have to figure out which game I'm adapting here, okay?
Okay.
It's about a sheriff who is lost in the middle of the wilderness, right? And he gets back to his town, but they thought he was dead. So there's an already new sheriff there, and he's now trying to reclaim the town back for himself again. What video game is that an adaptation of?
Animal Crossing.
Wrong. Mass Effect Andromeda.
Knew
obviously.
it. I knew it. I tricked you with Animal Crossing, but it was Mass Effect Andromeda.
Among Us reportedly had around 500 million active players in November. Holy shit.
That's I don't know. I was trying to, is this number as staggering as it sounds? I was trying to figure that out without doing any internet research or doing any 5 seconds of Googling. But I started to think about, GTA 5, I think there's something around 125 million copies of that sold right now, which means at most they could have 125 million active players. Which is still, it pales in comparison to 500 million. But there's how many active players in a month do you think play Fortnite? You think it's anywhere close to 500 million? I have no clue. Because Fortnite's free as well.
I don't think it is, because I think they lost 120 million players who played on iOS, and that was apparently a third of their audience. So they're at hundreds of million active players within a month for sure, but it's not in that ballpark.
Fortnite is one of the most
Here's the
popular.
thing too, though.
This comes from Statista.com. Monthly active users of select
That's a good
console
site.
games 2020. Fortnite is one of the most popular video games across the world, with the Battle Royale title racking up a global user count of over 350 million. In September 2020, Fortnite recorded almost 30 million monthly active users across all video game consoles.
That's right. So there was 350 registered users in general. So basically,
350 million
total people who
registered
bought
users,
copies. Yeah.
And
then
then
that's
30
the 125 million
million
equivalent to GTA 5.
That is compared to 500 million people who played it in the month of November for Among Us. Here's incredible.
Why, though. It is absolutely incredible. Here's what I think is the reason for that. Would you have played Fortnite with your family the same way you played Among Us with your family?
Nope.
And that's exactly it. I think this benefits by being a 2D top-down game that's generally easy to figure out. Yeah. Having limited control options as opposed to a third-person action shooter where you're running around this gigantic map and learning how to craft things, and this is more palatable to everyone. Good for them, because, again, keep in mind that this game came out 2 years ago. To no fanfare, no one caring. If I released anything and no one gave it any light of day for 2 years, it would be pretty obvious to me that it's just never going to be a thing. And that's fine.
Get this. Sorry,
I would
one
never
last
expect.
statistic. One last statistic.
Yeah.
Just for the scale of how huge this is. December 2nd of this year, there was an article on Games Radar where Epic disclosed that their highest player count was in August 2018. Try to guess how many people played in August 2018.
Which game again? I missed
Fortnite.
The game name. Oh, Fortnite. Okay. August 2018. This is when they hit 350 million, or just before that?
This is their
users?
highest players per month. Their record number of players per month since the game launched.
Okay.
As of December 2nd.
I know it's dropped off quite a bit this year. So I'm going to say it's probably around 60, 70 million.
It is 78.3 million people.
Damn.
That's like 500 million is like 6 times that. That's crazy. That's crazy. Way to go, Among Us.
78 is still a really impressive.
That is
no,
very
78 million,
impressive.
not 78.
For Among Us. Oh, good for them.
Yeah. Final story here. Halo Infinite Xbox One version is not canceled, confirms 343 Industry. This is from Liana Rupert at Game Informer. There is a rumor that they had canceled the development of the game on Xbox One to focus on Series X.
Which might, after seeing what 2077 went through, it might be the right call. But
I think that has a lot more to do with that game coming out way sooner than it was supposed to. I feel like it can run on PS4 and Xbox One once they fix a bunch of the issues. But I feel like playing it, there's nothing about that was like, whoa, this is so next gen. Yeah. I think they can do it. They just this is what a half-baked game looks like. So very sad. But Halo, yeah, I mean, I think that the game itself would perform and look a lot better if they didn't have to have it run on an Xbox One. I don't think we would have had that reaction of, ooh, that doesn't look good, if it was coming to Series X only. But at this point, they've committed to it. They've said it's coming to Xbox One. They're not going to turn back on it. It would be so contradictory to their overall messaging right now that they just couldn't possibly do that. They will water down the entire experience before they make it a Series X exclusive.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But that's it for all of our fetch quests. All of our quests for the week.
Game on Game Show. The Game on our Gaming Show. We play a game called Game On. The Game on our Game Show. Gaming, game. I like it when your booty go. Holden. This week we've got a new game.
Ooh, new game.
It's a fun guessing game. Not a lot of stress involved. But it's just an interesting game called NPD Cryptology. It's a game based around NPD rankings for the month of November 2020. 2020.
All right.
Mr. Potter. Sorry, I watched Die Hard on Christmas Eve, and after every single line that Snape says, I forget, his name's not Snape in the movie, but after every single line that he says, I out loud said, Mr. Potter. And people thought it was funny the first 20 minutes of the movie, and then they no longer thought it was funny, but I kept doing it. Hans Gruber is the guy's character name. Alan Rickman. 2020 Mr. Potter. So hold on. Here's how this game works. We've got 20 games. The top 20 games, there are a lot of caveats on this. It is the top 20 games sold in the United States in the month of November, ranked from 1 to 20. Some of them include digital sales, some of them do not. I will let you know when they do not include digital sales. Mm-hmm. But we're going to take it in chunks of 5, and I want you to just try to guess which 5 games make up that chunk. I'm not going to tell you a list to choose from. I just want you to guess. If you get 2 or more of those 5 correct, then you will get a point. And then
wait, so you have to guess 5 games that are in that top list?
Yeah, for example, I will say, all right, Holden, guess which games made slots 1 through 5. And you will guess 5 games. If you get 2 or more of them correct.
Gotcha, okay.
Then you get a point. If you can then place them in the correct order, you will get another point. And we'll repeat that 4 times through all 20. So you can have a total of 8 points. If you get more than 6 points, I will let you masturbate tonight. If you get less than 6 points or equal to 6 points, I will masturbate tonight.
The context here is every night I have to text Chad and go, hey, Chad, can I masturbate tonight? And you have to tell me whether I can or not.
It's like The Vow. You say, Master, may I masturbate? And I say, yes, slave, you may. If you haven't watched The Vow on HBO, it's a real thing, and it's a master-slave relationship, and it's sex slaves and trafficking, and it's crazy. You should watch it.
I've heard it's really good. I heard about it right after I watched the Jeffrey Epstein documentary series on Netflix. I was kind of like, all right, I'll watch that, but not right now. I need a break from really fucked up sexual deviance.
All right, Holden.
Because I already have Chad in my life who tells me when I can and cannot masturbate.
Holden, we're going to start with the top 5, which I think will be the easiest of the list of 20. So what I would love for you to do, keeping in mind, again, this is November sales, the top 5 best-selling games in terms of units in the U.S. in November. Can you name at least 2 of these 5 games? You have 5 guesses.
Okay, so I'm writing down just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Mm-hmm. One second. I'm just writing down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on my computer, so I have like a visualization for myself. Right. Okay, so November. Assassin's Creed Valhalla has to be on there.
Correct. That is one of them. Correct. Very good.
Okay. Trying to think what else came out then. November had Spider-Man Miles Morales.
Correct. That is also part of the top 5. You get your 2 point. You get your 2 correct, so you get your 1 point. You are 1/6 of the way to masturbating tonight.
Okay, so now I have to guess the order, like where they actually place on there.
You can continue guessing games just for fun through your 5.
Okay. I'm gonna don't put an order to this yet.
In fact, in future rounds of this, I will not tell you whether or not you're correct until you've named all 5, just so that we can maintain the suspense.
Ooh, okay. All right, so Miles Morales, AC Valhalla. Number 3 game I'm thinking is going to be on that list. I'm pretty certain I already saw the Demon's Souls is not in the top 5. So don't tell me if I'm right or not, but so I'm not going to say Demon's Souls.
Okay, Demon's Souls is a guess.
I feel like no, I don't think I would either. I remember because I saw this list a little while ago, and I can't remember exactly what was on it. But I remember being surprised by some things, like Sackboy was in the top 5. I remember Age of Calamity probably was in the top 5. Demon's Souls was in the top 5. Now I'm trying to think, like, what are the 3? Oh, Call of Duty came out. Call of Duty Black Ops has to be one of them.
That's a guess. Okay, you got one more guess.
I guessed 3 things already. Do I only get 4 guesses for this?
You get 5 guesses.
Or do I get to go
for 5 games?
Okay, so I have 2 guesses left then. Watch Dogs Legions I don't think sold that well. Huh. You know, I don't have any guesses for the. I have more games I know came out in that time frame that could be there, but I'm very confident that some of the PS5 launch exclusives couldn't have been in the top 5. I think Miles Morales was the only one in the top 5, so I'm going to leave it there for right now.
Okay,
That's my last guess.
You got 3 correct out of your 3 guesses.
Cool.
The top 5 included, in no particular order, Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales. You were correct with Assassin's Creed Valhalla. You were correct with Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. It also included NBA 2K21 and Madden NFL 21.
Yeah, so nothing else I wanted to guess was going to be there. So, okay.
So now your second point is, can you put all 5 of these in order on the first try?
Okay, so number 1,
to worst.
Call of Duty is number 1.
I will not
number 2,
until you've put them all in order.
Yeah, that's fair. Number 2 is going to be Miles Morales. 3, I'm going to say Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Okay.
And then I'm going to say NBA, then Madden.
You got 1 correct.
Oh boy,
the correct order. Yeah. The best-selling game in November was Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. The second was Assassin's Creed Valhalla. The third was Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales. The fourth was Madden NFL 21. And the fifth was NBA 2K21.
Damn.
So you got 1. You did not get a point for that one.
No points. All right. No points for that one.
For 6 through 10, Holden, you have 5 guesses. What games fall in the 6 to 10?
Okay. So games, I'm just going to write down here. Games I mentioned earlier, so I can keep a list of this so I don't forget things. Sackboy, I mentioned Sackboy came out in November. Demon's Souls came out in November. Just a general question. Would Astrobot count for consoles sold, or that just not be included at all?
I don't think that was included. I will let you know that is not on this list anywhere.
Okay. So I didn't think so. Actually, now that I think about it, it probably would have been in the top 5 because the PlayStation 5 probably sold, a good amount to make it up there. Okay. So Sackboy's on there. Demon's Souls, It came out in November. Age of Calamity came out in November. And then also just got to keep in mind games that have been really popular throughout the year that could still be hitting the top 10. So like Animal Crossing New Horizons could be there. It's an MPD list. Grand Theft Auto 5 has the chance to still be on there. On that same note, Mario Kart 8 is very often in the NPD list. So, well, the deluxe edition. I'm not sure if you're gonna get that specific, but we'll get that specific. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Edition. So those are 6 games off the top of my head that or either came out in that month or are prominent enough to in MPD lists to continuously be there. So okay. Trying to think, I feel like I'm missing something that's came out this month or last month. And I can't look at the internet at all, so I have to only go off of my own memory. Okay, so let's start with what I have right now. I'm going to go ahead and say Animal Crossing New Horizons is still in the top 10.
Okay.
So I'm going to put Animal Crossing New Horizons. Just write that down. I feel like of the PS5 launch titles, Demon's Souls probably sold better than Sackboy. But now I don't know, because Little Big Planet's a big franchise too. And Demon's Souls is such a niche thing, but then Souls games sell well. I want to put Demon's Souls in there, and then I want to put Age of Calamity in there. This is
so how many
tough.
is that now? You've got
this
2?
Is really tough. 3. So 3 I think are in from 6 to 10. AC New Horizons, Demon's Souls, Age of Calamity. Oh, I also have to keep in mind sports games that came out, like the NBA and Madden.
Right,
so
we had
FIFA.
Madden and NBA in there.
And those did not go. So is FIFA still there? Like, is that still popular enough? Are the kids still playing that one? I don't know. Okay. And then what other big games? It's not Marvel. Marvel, I think, kind of had that drop off in sales. I don't think that's going to be the top 10 at least. Yeah, let's put FIFA in there.
Is that
At
your
this
number?
point, I'm
That's your number 4?
spitballing. It's been number 4, so get number 5
so one
now.
more.
Mm-hmm. And this is driving me nuts because earlier today I went through and looked at a gigantic list of every single game that came out this year. So you would think something would be standing out in that period. But I can't think of anything right now. Summer, I can't remember anything in summer that came out that was really significant. I don't think Origami King is still breaking the top 10 NPD after all this time. Although you just had this look in your face that makes me think maybe it is in the top 10. Don't do that to me, Chad. I'm going to leave it at those 4 guesses right now. So AC New Horizons, Demon's Souls, Age of Calamity, FIFA.
Okay. You do get a point. Congratulations. The 5 games in this section in alphabetical order are Animal Crossing New Horizons, Demon's Souls, FIFA 21, Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, and Watch Dogs Legion.
Really? So I was really close.
You were very close. You were missing 1 game. Watch Dogs Legion.
All right, all right. I'm going to put Watch Dogs Legions at 10 because I feel like that probably had been out for a little while at that point. It didn't sell that well to begin with, so it's probably number 10. Okay. I'm going to put Demon's Souls at number 9. So let me fix that really quick in my list. Can you give me the top 1 through 5 again so I can write that down?
Number 1 was Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. Number 2 was AC Valhalla. Number 3 was Spider-Man Miles Morales. Number 4 was Madden NFL 21. Number 5 was NBA 2K21. Oh, something to note about the 6 through 10, Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity does not include digital sales.
Oh, okay, that's good to know. That's very good to know. In that case, I'm actually going to move Age of Calamity down to number 10. So Age of Calamity at 10, which means I'm moving Demon Souls, Watch Dogs Legion's up to 9. So WD Legion. Sounds like a hard drive. Get the Western Digital Legion. Demon Souls at... Oh, fuck. Based on the way I did this, I lost one. Oh, I lost FIFA. Okay, that's when I lost. Demon Souls at number 8. And then I'm going to keep Animal Crossing New Horizons at 6, because that game has just been selling crazy gangbusters. And then FIFA at 7. So Animal Crossing New Horizons at 6, FIFA 2021 at 7, Demon Souls at 8, Watch Dogs Legion at 9, Age of Calamity at 10.
I don't think you got any of them correct, Holden.
Oh.
You did not get this point, which means you are not allowed to masturbate tonight. But the correct order, from 6 to 10, at number 6 is Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity, despite not including online sales or digital sales.
Really?
Number 7 is Watch Dogs Legion. Number 8, Animal Crossing New Horizons. Number 9, FIFA 21. And number 10, rounding out the top 10, is Demon Souls. So hold on, we're going to move on to 11 through 15. We're going to add a little bit of challenge. We're going to add a time limit. We're going to have
It's
one...
not been hard so far. It's been just a total breeze.
Because we're getting in the weeds on this and it could take forever, we're going to add a 1-minute time limit to each section. So you have 1 minute to formulate your 5 games, 1 minute to put them in order. Your 1 minute starts now.
All right, this one includes Sackboy. This one's going to include... Well, let me just delete some things I've already included out of my list that I wrote for myself. Okay, so this one includes Sackboy. I think that... This is going to be harder now. I'm just going to just name the games I've named earlier. It's going to include Grand Theft Auto 5 and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I'm not as certain about these ones, but fuck it. We're doing it live. 30 seconds left. Sackboy, Mario Kart 8, Grand Theft Auto 5. Let's throw in Final Fantasy 7 at this point. The remake, not the 7-7.
15 seconds left.
Just call it there, because I have no idea. Like, Final Fantasy 7 remake, I think, is a terrible guess. I don't know why I would think it's in the top 15. It's a terrible, terrible guess.
And time is up. So can you please repeat your 4 that you guessed? Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Sackboy, which is really, to be clear, the only one I'm actually certain is in this. Okay. Like, or I think is possible. I think is a better way. Certain's too extreme. And then Mario Kart 8 and Grand Theft Auto 5, and then Final Fantasy VII Remake. Those are the 4 I'm predicting. And I'm not very confident in this one.
Holden, you do not get a point for this round. You got 1 of 5 correct. Think so.
Which is Sackboy, right?
For 11 through 15, in alphabetical order, we start with Luigi's Mansion 3. Digital sales not included.
Really?
Yep.
All right. Okay. Wow.
Luigi's Mansion 3, digital sales not included. You might want to be writing these down because you're going to have to put them in order.
I'm writing these down, yeah.
Okay, good.
Because there's so many that are wrong. I need to write them down this time.
I lied. There's actually one in alphabetical order that is before Luigi. It's Just Dance 2021.
I should have called that one.
We
Those
have
are popular somewhat still.
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, digital sales not included. That is the one you got correct. We have New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, digital sales not included. And Super Mario 3D All-Stars, digital sales not included.
Oh, All-Stars. I totally forgot about All-Stars.
So now you have 1 minute to put those 5 games in order from 11 to 15, starting now.
Okay, so we're going to say number 11 is Just Dance 2021. So let me write that in here. So Just Dance 2021. Oh, just said Just Dace 2021.
Just
Not
Dace.
the same game. Very different game. We'll go with 12 for Mario Kart 8. We're going to go number 12 for Mario All-Stars. And then number 13 for Mario Kart 8. So that leaves us with Super Mario Bros. And Luigi's Mansion. I'm going to say Luigi's Mansion sold better than... No. Super Mario Bros. New Super Mario Bros. Deluxe, or Wii U Deluxe, whatever it's fucking called. Super Mario Pro Max. That's right. Super Mario Pro Max. And then Luigi's Mansion 3 is 15.
Can you please repeat your list as it stands?
Nope, you should have memorized it by now. 11, Just Dance 2021.
Okay.
Number 12 is Mario All-Stars.
Okay.
Number 13 is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. 14 is New Super Mario Pro Max. And number 15 is Luigi's Mansion 3.
You got 3 out of the 5 correct, which is a majority, but still enough to earn you a point. I will still be masturbating tonight, but the order is number 11, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Number 12, Super Mario 3D All-Stars. Number 13, Just Dance 2021. Number 14, New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. And number 15, Luigi's Mansion 3.
Really? So basically I just switched up Just Dance 2021 and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
That's right. Yep.
I do get a point for that round, or I don't?
You do not get a point for that round because you only guessed one of the 5 games and you did not put all of them in order correctly.
Oh, I had to get all of them correct. Okay.
Correct. Yep.
I thought the way you worded it, I thought like 3 doesn't cut it, but 4 would have cut it. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. You can't get one wrong. They would have to switch. Okay, I get you now.
All right, our final grouping, 16 through 20. You have 1 minute.
This one's going to be impossible.
1 minute to think of 5 games that might be 16 through 20, starting now.
If New Super Mario Wii U Pro Max
S
Edition S, then anything can be from 16 to 20. Anything can be. So we're going to have fun with this one. And, well, first of all, Grand Theft Auto's got to be on there somewhere. So I'm going to say Grand Theft Auto 5. It's got to be on there somewhere. So I'm sticking with that. After that, let's just name some random games. Kirby's Dream Course.
From the Super Nintendo.
From the Super Nintendo. That's going to be on there.
You have 10 seconds left.
Pilot Wings. The 64 launch edition of Pilot Wings is going to be on there.
And time
let's
is
see.
up.
Outside of that.
So of those 3 games,
can I
you
get
got
one
0
more guess
correct.
really quickly? I was going to say Tomb Raider 2 from the PS1.
Still would not have helped you. You still have 0 points for that
Damn. Okay.
Grand Theft Auto 5, surprisingly not on the list of the top 20.
That actually is surprising.
All right. In alphabetical order, we have Ghosts of Tsushima. We have Mario Kart Live Home Circuit. We have Marvel's Avengers. Mortal Kombat 11. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Digital sales not included.
Interesting The Last of Us Part 2 isn't on there at all. Interesting. So wait, Ghost of Tsushima, Mario Kart Live Home Circuit. Well, I don't have them all written down yet.
Okay.
Ghost of Tsushima, Mario Kart Live Home Circuit, Avengers, and then what was the other 2? Super Smash
Kombat
Bros.
11
What was before
and
that?
Smash Bros.
Okay.
Smash Bros. Does not have digital sales included. 1 minute, starting now.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and say Mario Kart Live. So MK Live. I'm going to write here. So MK Live. Then we're going to say Ghost of Tsushima. Then it's going to be Super Smash Bros. Avengers, and then Mortal Kombat.
All right, you got 1 out of 5 of those correct, Holden. The order is as follows. Mario Kart Live Home Circuit, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Marvel's Avengers, Mortal Kombat 11, Ghost of Tsushima, rounding out the pack at 20.
Boom.
So while you did an admirable job on some of this game, you unfortunately do not get to masturbate tonight. Don't even text and ask.
Damn.
But I'm going to be enjoying myself.
It's going to be even better knowing I'm not allowed to do it.
That's it for Game on Game Show, and that is it for our episode 192 of... What did you call this? Why can't PS5 warm chicken?
Hey, that KFConsole is going to start a new trend. If the next Xbox and PlayStation do not have a chicken warming feature...
You're right. Look out for PS5 Pro.
Yeah.
Yep.
The chicken warming feature.
That's it for our episode. Thank you for listening. We have a couple of pieces of homework. Number 1, and most important...
I'm sorry, I have to stop because it's too relevant. Okay. Do you remember when you were first seeing the V-shaped PlayStation 5 dev kit and people were sticking pieces of like pizza in the middle? It's a
my
pizza
God.
warmer. That's how they're going to differentiate the consoles. Sony's like, cool, KFConsole, you have taken the chicken warming market. We can't compete with that, but we can warm up pizza slices in our V-shaped vent.
But here's the thing. The vents are blowing air on it. It's going to cool it down. It's to cool off your pizza slice so you don't burn the roof of your mouth.
Boom.
They take the opposite route. The more useful route, honestly.
But it makes much more useful, yeah.
Yeah.
And then what does Xbox do? Well, it is already a refrigerator, so you can just open it up and
That's right.
Stick a nice cold one in there.
And you
That's
can
what
float
it
a
is.
ping pong ball. So yeah, what's most important that everyone needs to do immediately. Holden won the predictions. Therefore, he is going to put up a poll on Patreon tonight
Yes.
of what barf games we should be playing in January. So go vote in that
Or
poll.
February. Could be both.
Maybe both.
Could be a 2-month game.
Who knows?
Yeah.
So go vote on that.
Who knows?
Is it going to be Assassin's Creed Odyssey? Brent?
No, it's not.
Is it going to be Mass Effect Andromeda?
I'm already playing that, so no, it's not going to be that one.
What will it be? Go take a look. Go vote. We will have a
I
week
just
up
killed
for
all
that.
the suspense. Don't look for the ones Chad just mentioned. I've already said no.
Is it going to be the 12 Lizzie McGuire Game Boy games that I saw?
I don't want to spoil anything now. I won't say.
Shit. Then you can also go to patreon.com/respawn aimfire. Support us. Vote for it. Interact with us on Twitter. Tickle my taint. Thursday. Is Thursday New Year's Day or New Year's Eve?
New Year's Eve.
Is it? Or is it none of the above? What is it?
It's New Year's Eve.
Is New Year's Eve? Okay.
It's definitely New Year's Eve, yeah. Definitely New Year's Eve.
We might still have, I don't know what we're planning to do. We announced this on the podcast, but we didn't actually announce this on Patreon, or I don't know if you did. But last week we didn't do a game night because Christmas Eve.
Christmas.
We might not have an official game night this week again, but it's likely that we might get on and want to play something unofficially. So just look out for that. We'll advertise it on Twitter. Follow us on Twitter at RespawnAimFire. Dope, everyone. Until next week, here's our usual sign off. I believe in